All right, enough theory and frameworks. Today, I'm giving you specific AI wins that you can implement in your business in the next 90 days. Not next year, not when the budget allows, this quarter, right now. Each one costs less than you'd spend on a mid-level hire, and each one delivers real ROI within 60 days. I'm going to give you the what, the how, and the cost, and the return. Let's go. Welcome back. This is a mini-series AI for the rest of us. I'm Bradley Davidson, founder of Prometheus. And if you've been paying attention to this series, you know that the case for AI in the middle market is significant. You actually know the cost of waiting. We talked about that on a previous episode. Now, it's time to act. And these 5 wins come directly from work that we've done with real clients, manufacturers, distributors, home services, professional services companies. These are tested. They're not necessarily bleeding edge, but they work. And so let's unveil them. First, win number 1. And this is the one that we oftentimes recommend first for almost every business that we work with. And that's communication triage powered by AI. So here's the deal. Every company that we talk with has customer inquiries coming in through email, forms, phone, text, and almost every instance a human is reading that communication, whether it's in customer service or sales, figuring out what to do with it and routing it. That's slow, it's inconsistent, it's inexpensive, and it's not always a perfect, always-on system for your company. So here's the fix. Implement a system that leverages AI, that reads that incoming communication, categorizes them by type and urgency, extracts that key information, and routes it to the right person automatically. This is not a chat bot. This is an intelligence layer that's behind the scenes managing this workflow for your business that doesn't have a customer-facing impact, but solves a significant amount of muscle need in your organization. Here are some ideas on how you can actually implement this. You can use N8N, which is an open source routing platform, an automation platform like a Zapier, connect it into a large language model like Claude or ChatGPT, or maybe you're on HubSpot or Salesforce and you just need to connect these systems together. And there's native features in both that can handle this situation for you. This is typically an implementation that we would connect into a CRM or a ticketing system, and it's something you already use, and you just need to go through a planning exercise to make it happen. Look, this could take time and resources on your end that could level up to around up to $15,000 to implement, depending on the complexity. That's typically what we would charge to set this up for our customer. The ongoing cost is fairly minimal. Maybe we'll just say around $200 to $300 a month in compute. But here's the thing, the expected return from this effort is drastically going to reduce response time. Let's say that around conservatively, your response times and your routing time are reduced by 60%. That impacts routes that may be dropped, customer-facing teams being able to in real time get back to your customers and prospect. That in and of itself could reduce their time by up to 15 hours per week. And look, we've worked on this with professional services companies before, and we see real client satisfaction impact skyrocketing with this type of effort. So here's the deal. Allow yourself 4 to 5 weeks to implement this, a couple weeks to fine tune it, pilot it with a couple of key employees, and all of a sudden you've got a real live use case in your business that's delivering value within 6 weeks. Win number 2, this is an intelligent document processing system. And a lot of what businesses and legacy companies are leveraging AI to do is just, let's take some foundational documentation where we know that we have issues from a human capital perspective dealing with this data, because documents sometimes are data, and then what do we do with it? This is a gold mine for lots of middle market companies to figure out how to automate it and pull it into their systems that provides dashboarding, reporting, or just candid automation for companies. So think about every document that your team processes manually. Invoices, purchase orders, RFIs, RFPs, contracts, certifications, compliance documents. Someone is opening up these things and reading it and extracting information and typing it oftentimes, or scanning it into a system. And look, in today's day and age, you do not have to function that way. AI document processing can read these documents and structure it together and pull it into a system that still has humans approve the data and the relevancy of that information, but can pull it, place it into the relevant fields, validate it against your existing data, flag for exceptions, and all of a sudden you're skyrocketing your ability to scale top line and the documentation that comes alongside of it. So here's how you would implement something like this. You would go out and you would use a similar tool like I mentioned previously, an N8N, for example, find models that have OCR, and then can send that and route it through LLMs to understand what they're looking at and figure out how to take that data and place it into your database properties, your CRM, your ERP, and that way it can trigger over time. And look, don't try to boil the ocean. Pick one of your highest volume, most painful documentation processes, pull it through a system, and allow the technology to give you scale. Drops. Start with invoices or POs and see where you go from there. This is something that you can expect significant return from quickly. 70% efficiency, let's say. Error rates drop, human rate error drops, distribution distribution on the client side now significantly more in terms of what you're able to handle. And you still can allow your best team members to review that information, but now you can redeploy those hours into more significant revenue driving or analysis-based activities. Again, could be done in a 3 to 5 week period, and you're going to quickly feel that impact and scale it to other types of efforts in the organization. Point number 3 is starting to think about how you can leverage AI for objectivity in your marketing and sales efforts, particularly on lead scoring and automated follow-up sequencing. If you have a sales team and you have, call it more than 50 leads per month, this really becomes an efficiency play and a conversion play together. Most companies treat every lead the same, particularly at this size. Comes in, goes to the next rep, they rotate it, and the follow-up cadence is sort of static or up to intuition based on what the sales rep sort of feels like that day. Some get called in 5 minutes, some of those prospects get called in a couple of days, and businesses are busy and they're messy, but this is where really good automation and AI collectively can work together to help your business scale. Lead scoring can automatically analyze that data, do research for you on that inbound lead, actually assess it against similar companies or prospects that you may have won or lost, and what that sales rep potentially said historically, and help make suggestive opportunities to improve your conversion rate. So imagine this world where AI is sitting in the middle of these processes, not only just helping to prioritize, but also helping to give your team real-time feedback based on what they've done in the past, improve their lead to conversion rates, and have suggestive personalized outreach dropped in their inbox as a draft or in their sales enablement collateral as a draft to increase the probability that those leads are going to get converted. And if you're on a CRM, this is something that you may have historically toyed with or played with. If you're on HubSpot, this is something you can build inherently in the platform. Also, you could build this outside of the CRM and have it talk into your network and that data in a way that gives you a little bit more scale and less vendor lock-in. Again, depending on the scale of your business, this could be anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 to implement, but based on what your conversion rate and your acquisition costs are, that immediately starts to give you return on your bottom line. This is something that we would expect a 20 to 35% improvement in on the lead to close conversion rates. Your deal velocity starts to pick up, you're able to work more leads, and you're getting real objectivity in your business that helps your sales folks close better and provides better data to marketing. This can be a 4 to 6 week process, and everyone listening to this knows that with AI in the middle, providing that objectivity and that automation, intuitively, you're going to have a better close rate for your business. Sales is happy, CEO is happy. Why not start right now, right here? Let's talk about an AI enhanced estimating platform. This is where money can be made in the actual project-based businesses. And when you think through sort of where the middle market's coming in and your best estimator is pretty accurate, but do they have access to real-time data? Or multiple estimators kind of learning from one another? The spread may be killing your margins. You learn from it and you've got good processes to learn from that together. But what if you don't have to learn from one another and you have the data to help deploy that? This is where AI is perfect to come in and have a customized solution for your business, particularly if you have an estimating type sales flow. This type of situation makes all of your data perform and all of your estimates perform like your best one. The system analyzes your historical project data, bids, actuals, change orders, timelines, and builds a model of what drives costs in those specific businesses and verticals. So when a new estimate is being prepared, the AI is able to make suggestions in line in those quotes, pulling from real-time data, flagging anomalies in a way that helps identify commonly missed scoping items. And this is going to take some customization development because it really depends on your data, what's historically worked, and the documentation and your sales processes for how these things can talk together. The implementation cost here is around 35 to 40 grand because really this is an expensive database foundation, has real impact on the sales operations of your company. We see a massive return though with this type of investment. Not only are you limiting inaccuracies in your quoting processes, but this actually helps reduce time to quote. We've seen this drop up to 40% in scoped items being honestly where they're missing scoped items or when they're really able to reduce the time to go to market with that opportunity. If you're able to increase your quoting volume and improve your accuracy, doesn't that make sense to implement in your business? I would allow for something around up to 8 weeks here. You really have to have the foundational data to make this happen and the way that you want to train your team to use these efforts. And over time, have a system that learns from your key learnings. And here's the last one. Point number 5, automated reporting and AI-driven business intelligence. Look, reporting may sound boring, but let me reframe it. How many hours do your team actually spend each week pulling data from different systems, building reports, pulling it into dashboards, and getting it ready for leadership? 10 hours, 20 hours, do you have multiple people doing this? So now it becomes 50 really quickly. And look, how often do those reports actually feel outdated by the time they're actually presented? Is it real time? Do they raise questions? So there's tons of follow-up. Are there customized insights being pulled in? How do you actually tell that it's truly something that you didn't already know before you're actually seeing that report from your key team members? AI-driven reporting isn't just something that is a dream. It's a reality. And it doesn't mean that a whole team has to automate and assemble it together. You can leverage a system where AI is helping to analyze this data for you, producing automated key insights to various team members, and pulling in dashboards that's relevant based on the role in the organization. So depending on your data dashboard situation and your data foundation, this is where an AI layer can connect into those systems and pull it into any type of opportunity for you, aggregating data together, and provide significant reporting opportunities for your business. You used to have to maybe outsource this even to a third party, where you wanted a visualization studio to make this happen. And sometimes, depending on the complexity of your data, that could be important. But for most middle market and SMB companies, you actually can pull this data in to Claude or a ChatGPT or even a Google Gemini, and it will pull the key insights for you in a way that is almost like having a enterprise dashboard solution. This is just as much about getting your data in a good foundation as it is to actually pull into those platforms. This is a relatively low cost thing to implement. It's really the data foundation and then knowing how to interact with that data in a way that confirms that it's telling the right stories. So this is around 15 grand to implement. The expected return is significant. Not only are you saving time from your team, but you're getting real data that's democratized across the organization on a real-time basis. Allow your team 4 weeks to get your data in a good spot that allows these LLMs to actually work for you here. And all of a sudden you've got a real enterprise level dashboard for a fraction, call it a month of cost of an analyst. So if you think about it, what we did is we came up with around $50,000 to $95,000 worth of investment in AI with really significant annual returns. Conservatively, could be between $250,000 to $500,000 of return, depending on your company size. Again, that's around a 5x return, could even be more, depending on the scale of the opportunity, just in year one. And it's going to compound and get better every year as the models improve and your team becomes more capable. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one, not all five, just one. The one where you said, yeah, we definitely have that problem, and commit to implementing it this quarter. And if you want help figuring out which one to start with, take our AI assessment. It'll point you to your highest impact opportunities based on your specific situation. There's a link in the description. And look, if you don't want to DIY it, I would love to help you implement this for your team. That's literally what we do here at Prometheus. Our audit is the fastest way to go from thinking about it to actually doing it, and we can get you there within 5 to 6 weeks. You'll know exactly where you stand after a fixed fee, and then this capability that you've desperately been wanting will be in your organization quickly. Next episode, I'm going to teach you how to evaluate AI solutions when you're not that technical, because there's a lot of vendors and noise out there who'll happily sell you something that you don't need, and I'll show you how to tell the difference. See you then.